You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's The Lying Game After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's The Lying Game After Show.
Hello, Lying Game fans. Bing is for doing, and we are doing another after show for The Lying Game, Season 2, Episode 9, The Grave Truth. I'm your host, Cathy Kelley, and joining me today is
Danica Kennedy.
And what an episode it was. Oh
truth
my
came
gosh.
out.
Oh my gosh. We do need the creepy music. No, I mean, tonight's episode was ridiculous. The ending, I mean, we should just come out and say it.
Let's just say it now, but we'll talk about it later.
Oh my gosh.
Dead body.
Teresa in the water.
Just floating dead in the pool.
We said that. Like, everyone was like, oh no, she's just kidnapped. We said she was gonna die. I'm hoping that at some point in next episode they like pull her out of the water and she's like mouth to mouth resuscitation and she's totally fine. I really hope that happens. I
don't think that's gonna happen. I'm sorry.
Right before her wedding.
I know.
This is awful.
Oh, there's so much to say about that.
Yeah.
Should we hold it till the end since that was the end of the episode?
Yes.
It's so hard to just keep that from you guys, though, until the end. So we just have to get that off our chest. But so much happened in this episode.
I'm sure a lot of people at home also felt the same way. Like, right when that aired, I texted you right away because I was like, what just happened?
And I was like, don't ruin it for me. I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
It was a really good episode, and I apologize to anyone listening in advance because I feel like tonight's after show is going to be a little bit jumbled. A lot of things in tonight's episode really intertwined with each other.
It's hard to pick topics on this episode because there's so much going on that we almost have to go chronologically and just kind of hit points as we go with this one.
Exactly. Let's start out with, there was a lot of sisterly love in this episode, and that's something we had Ali Gonino on as a guest. She plays Laurel. She was in studio last week, and she was talking about how excited she was for when Sutton and Emma and Laurel finally got together and they had that sister bonding time, and we saw that this episode.
And she forced them to hug too. She was like the initiator of all of that. She was like, come on guys, get up, like you're on the same team now. And this time I really feel like Sutton is on the same team as them because she always does this kind of like fake turn, like, oh, I'm kind of on your side, I'm kind of not. And I think she really is on their side this time.
Yeah, she definitely, she seemed much more likable in this episode than any other episode this entire season, I think. We're finally seeing that loyal side to Sutton, which I feel like her loyalties have changed so much, and it used to be to Rebecca, or, you know, the mythical birth mother, but now she's really siding with her family. And
I don't think it's fake either because we have to question that. We have to take that into account with all these characters. They're all complete liars, and it is the lying game, but I really feel like she's not turning back on this one.
Yeah. The moment that I loved the most in this episode was between Laurel and Sutton, actually, when Laurel said to her, you know, I don't understand. There have been so many years when we've, you know, been living together and you sided with your birth mother because you had blood. Well, now we do have blood and you're siding with me, but I never needed that, you know, DNA connection to love you and to treat you like a sister and to treat you with respect. So why couldn't you do that for me?
And it's so sad too because Sutton had the perfect life. She had the nurturing, perfect family, the parents, the sister that loved her and wanted to be her, and that's what Laurel points out, and she still just wanted that birth mom no matter who it was because it was blood when she has been related to them this whole time, or at least Ted and Laurel. And it shouldn't matter anyways. Like, whoever raised you and was there for you is like your parents, I feel like, or your family, not just DNA.
Yeah. And we also thought that Laurel was going to accept Emma no matter what, because they did have such a strong bond, but now they have even stronger of a bond because they are related by blood. They're half sisters.
So cute. They like hug too. They're like, we're sisters. And
Yeah.
we've been wanting Emma and Laurel to become really good friends and very close, and they did too. So it's like the three of them are BFFs now.
Hopefully there won't be as much competition anymore between Emma and Sutton. It seems like that has kind of, gone away this episode.
Yeah. Well, the boy drama, you never know if that will stir the pot again with them. Because, I mean, even last week we were talking about how they just all need to move on to different people, but
yeah,
I could see that stirring it up again. But I think with all the like murder mystery parent drama, they're all on the same page now.
Yeah. Let's get into that teenage love score a little bit. The past couple weeks we've had a lot of drama. As you just said, we had a lot of drama between, Emma, Sutton, Ethan, and Thayer. And this is the episode where we've gotten some sort of resolution. It seemed like Emma and Thayer haven't had as much chemistry as of late. It seems like they're fizzling out, and that opens the door for Emma and Ethan, which a lot of fans have wanted.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fans have wanted, myself included, us
Me
included.
too.
And it all starts out where, Thayer wants answers from Emma, and she's trying to be as fair to him as she is to Ethan, but it just seems like she's so nice in this episode and how she's handling things with Thayer, but it's clear that it's not there anymore.
Yeah, it's not working out. And Kristen kind of helped out with that. That scene was so awkward. Was
so awkward.
Kristen invites Ethan to sleep on the couch, and Emma and Thayer are right there, and Thayer's just like this is so awkward for me. Yeah. But she can't he can't mention anything about the twins, of course, in front of Kristen, so it's a really weird situation. Did you feel awkward while watching that? I was like, what is she gonna say?
I did feel awkward when I knew that Kristen was gonna invite him, but
because she's so nice.
Yeah, I just it was weird because I knew that that's what Emma wanted to happen, but she just didn't want it to happen in front of Thayer. Mm-hmm. And then later on in the episode, we actually saw a very awkward scene, which I thought was more uncomfortable to watch, which was Kristen telling Thayer to his face, she's like, I think you should back off of Emma. I don't think she's ready. I don't think you're ready. Kind of seemed like Kristen thought Thayer had some issues that he needed to work out.
I feel like she said that because she's thinking about how she was in high school and how her relationship with Ted and Alec kind of parallels her daughters, even though she doesn't know that it's Emma and stuff, Sutton and all that. I feel like she was she wants her daughter to go after her heart, not the guy that's good on paper. And I think she's trying to help out in her way. Is that what you thought when she did that?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think she senses that deeper connection with Emma and Ethan than she does with Thayer, and
she could probably just tell.
It is so hard to break up with someone, but to have your mom help you out, it's kind of weird. I almost felt like Thayer will now take it worse because he thinks he needs to fight for it. So that should be interesting.
It's so weird too because she didn't tell her mom I'm not really that into him anymore. Her mom just did it.
Intuition.
Yeah.
All moms have intuition.
She knows. Mama knows best, right?
Exactly. So Ethan ends up staying at the Mercer's house on the couch, and of course Emma gets up in the middle of the night to make some tea, walks past the couch, and you know that a late night rendezvous is about to go down.
I think she couldn't sleep, not because of the drama, because she knew a really hot shirtless guy was sleeping on her couch upstairs that she's in love with.
So Ethan wakes up, meets her in the kitchen, and I have to say this, Emma was looking pretty hot for just getting out of bed. I don't look that good when I just get out of bed in the middle of the night. She looked smoking, and she was like in some like it
like
wasn't
sexy lingerie.
It wasn't lingerie,
pajamas.
but it was like lingerie / pajamas.
And her hair is all
Her hair
nice.
was perfect. She looked flawless, and of course,
not how I
did
look.
Did she like go to the bathroom before she did she like fix her hair and makeup or something? Because she's like, oh yeah, maybe I'll see Ethan in the kitchen.
Probably.
I
Sounds
might
like
do
something
that.
I would do. Yeah.
Exactly. So
It's a girl thing.
they end up talking, and it is very evident that there's still feelings and chemistry between these two.
They're like this far apart
Yeah.
when they're talking. We're just
And-
waiting for them to kiss.
And it's very weird because Thayer did say before he left, if you lay one finger on her, and Ethan said, I'm not going to do anything. He made that very clear that he wasn't going to do anything, and then goes back on his word, kind of. But Emma
Leans
was the
in
one
for the kiss.
Emma was the one that initiated it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it went down. She said, I wish things could go back to the way they were, and then they both lean in.
And then she freaked out and spilled her tea everywhere, and it was really hot, and then awkwardly walked away. And then Sutton's creeping in the window, just hanging out, watching.
I thought that there was going to be more drama with Sutton seeing that happen, and I was
She didn't really
pleasantly
care.
surprised. I was pleasantly surprised that she didn't care. Emma goes back to her room after that awkward, or the almost kiss encounter, and Emma and Sutton end up talking.
Because everyone could just waltz into the house through random window-type
and
doors. And
As we said before, I would be so scared if a murderer was in my town that I would like take the door out of my room. Like I wouldn't have that as an option, or I would deadbolt it like 6 times.
I always wonder that on these shows, like in Pretty Little Liars and The Lying Game with the murderers around. I'm like, I would have all the shutters shut, everything locked, curtains drawn. Like I wouldn't want anyone seeing anything. You know?
would want to live in a bomb shelter.
Me too. I'd be freaking out.
Yeah. So Emma and Sutton are talking, and
Another awkward moment occurs.
Well, Sutton confronts Emma, and she's like, so it seems like, did you invite Ethan? It seemed like things were kind of getting like a little steamy. He was walking around with his shirt off, and Ethan walks in.
Mm-hmm.
After Emma's like, no, nothing happened. I wouldn't do that because I'm dating Thayer.
And what did he say? When he walked in, he was like, wait, we need to talk. Like, he was going to say something really romantic, and then he was like, oh,
I need to
there's
say
both of
something,
you.
Emma.
Bye.
Yeah. Which only, opens the door even further for Sutton to question, but she didn't.
I think she's over it. I think she's so...
She's
like,
grown a lot in one episode, which is not
incredible.
normal. Yeah. So I actually thought when this happened that Sutton was going to go straight to Thayer.
Me too. And she didn't.
Yeah.
I think she just doesn't care about all that, like, love drama anymore. And she's just like, who's the murderer? Like, what's with Rebecca? I think she's so preoccupied that she doesn't care about that stuff at the moment.
Mm-hmm. So also in this episode, the old people love square, as I like to call it.
They're
not even that old. I mean, they all look amazing, but that's how I have to differentiate them. We have the teenage love square and the older people love square.
So much love going around that we have to.
This love square really does parallel the younger one. And
sorry, I don't know why that always happens on this show.
So Rebecca ends up confronting Kristen in the most awkward of places. She's on her way to yoga with her girlfriends, and Rebecca's like, "Oh,
so
you
weird.
Cheating whore!" Like
in front of everyone.
When we know Kristen is one of the nicest people on this show.
Yeah.
So it was. I mean, I know that Rebecca's just there to start drama, but
she doesn't actually even care that they kissed.
I think, from what I got from this interaction, Rebecca just wants to ruin Kristen's life. It's not about it. Like, she wants both guys almost. She doesn't want Kristen to be happy. She wants her own happiness, and she just wants, it was such a weird, like, I don't know.
Well, and then everyone else was there too. Like, Alec comes walking up and is just like stirring up more drama. Like, oh, it wasn't anything, but
yeah,
it was.
Yeah. Well, I think that Rebecca intentionally did that so that Alec would have to say, no, there aren't any feelings here. That would intentionally hurt Kristen's feelings, and then, they wouldn't get together in the end. Like, I feel like Rebecca wants both Ted and Alec to both be in love with her.
She just wants her to be miserable, I think.
Yeah. So something had to have gone down in high school. We're still not sure yet.
Did she go to the same high school as them too, Rebecca?
I think so. I mean, they all talk about themselves in high school. I'm not really sure. There are so many. I'm sorry, guys. For anyone listening at home, I feel like there are so many different, storylines that it's hard to keep track of. If you guys know if Rebecca went to the same high school as them, then please let us know.
Tweet us.
Yes. Please let us know. Either tweet us or leave a comment on the YouTube page, because we do listen to those, or we do read them. So Alex said that it meant nothing, the kiss between Kristen and himself. And
later he clarifies
yes, he did clarify it. He went to visit Kristen, and he said, I apologize for that. Obviously there were feelings, but it seemed like Kristen wasn't into it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, she had clarity that she didn't want to be this,
she doesn't want to be the other
adulterer.
Woman. Yeah. And it's just, I don't know, the way he said it too, like, oh, don't worry, she'll be put behind bars or something. Like, she'll be put away for a long time, so I'm not going to be in this marriage very much longer, so just give in now. And it was kind of like, wow, could you be a little more romantic, or kind of like, I don't know. The way he said it was kind of a turnoff, I thought.
Yeah.
He wasn't like, wow, I just want to be with you, and like, we had all this chemistry from a long time ago. I think if he worded it differently, she would have been more into him.
Yeah. I just don't see the chemistry.
Do
you need
sorry.
some water?
I'm like trying to not cough so bad, and it's making me cough more.
We did this once before. Remember?
I know. That's why I'm like, please don't happen again.
Well, we will try to get through this.
Yes, I will try to make it through.
So, it is a very strange situation, because I feel like, I don't know, the old people love score is almost more complicated than the younger people's
It
ones,
is.
because, I mean, they're all adulterers. They're two married couples, and it seems like everyone's cheating on each other. And you've said this in multiple times, that they are older, so they should be more mature, and they're not.
It's like the more years they have on them is like the more lies piled up. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, it makes you wonder, oh, are the kids going to be like that too, and just have these lies piling up over the years?
Yeah.
Hopefully not. Okay.
Well, we'll move on to another topic. Before we get into the rest of the show, I just want to mention really quickly, if you are watching us on AfterBuzzTV.com, or if you're watching us on YouTube, then please also take a minute to go over to iTunes and subscribe to our iTunes channel. All you have to do is type in AfterBuzz TV, find the Lying Game podcast, and click subscribe. You can find all of our past episodes as well as this episode. And also rate and comment, because that really helps us out here at AfterBuzz. We are always trying to bring you the best shows possible, and we want to continuously improve. So if you have something that we can improve on, then please comment with that. Or if you just want to say nice things about us, that is always appreciated as well. So rate, comment, and then also tell a friend, because that's how we grow here at AfterBuzz.
And let us know your predictions, because we're making our own predictions here, and there's so many you can make with this show. We kind of want to hear what you guys say about it too.
Yes. So the next topic, I feel like, as I said, it's very jumbled tonight, but Mads is actually confronted by Alec tonight. And I feel like this entire episode, he's trying to get everyone on his side. He's already got Jordan on his side, spying on Rebecca. Now he's trying to get his son and daughter on his side. Mads is already kind of there, but he wants to make sure she stays there. He ends up getting mad at Mads for staying at the Mercers, and he seems very protective of her.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure whether that was the father in him, or he was just making sure that she's still siding with him, even though he's kind of being creepy.
Yeah. Well, I feel like everyone's kind of on the same side of him, like, as him tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, with this last episode, because no one's on Rebecca's side anymore. Everyone is against her.
Yes.
And I think next episode, everyone's going to be pointing fingers at her and trying to accuse her of the murders.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just going to be like, how is she going to take it? How's she going to react? Is she going to turn it around on Alec or someone else?
Yeah.
So I feel like everyone's on his side right now, but he still has his creepy qualities some way. I don't know. Like, he's something about him. I want to believe what he says, though, more than ever with the last few episodes.
Yeah. So Mads ends up telling him that Jordan knows a lot more than he's let on, which he actually I don't know, he wasn't mad about.
Okay, maybe you can clarify this for me.
Yeah.
Did he already know about the twins, or did Mads tell him that there were twins?
I believe he already knew. Or wait,
He already knew
Alec
because
or
I mean,
Jordan.
Jordan. Did he already know because
I think Rebecca told him. I mean,
so Mads didn't tell him.
Jordan said that I mean, I could be wrong, but I think Jordan said that Rebecca trusted him with a lot of things, and she ended up telling him a lot of things so that he could end up helping her ultimately, in getting more answers, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that when he came to Arizona, she kind of let him in on a lot of the situation.
So that's why he wasn't that surprised, because when they were in the cabin, it was like they kind of just waltzed in randomly, and then all of them were together talking about it, and I was kind of like, wow, all these people know about it now.
I want to get into that in a second. First, before we get into that, I just want to mention Alec actually talking to Thayer. That was the last person that he tried to get on his side, and Thayer seemed more receptive to it this week than he has been in the past.
Yeah, and I don't understand why, really. Do you think it's because he's just dealing with the whole Emma Sutton situation, and he's kind of like realizing that they kind of are siding with him?
I think it's actually the persistence of Alec, because it's very hard to forgive someone if they just say they're sorry for something once, but this is at least the third or fourth time that Alec has said something to him, like, I'm sorry, this was actually all for you, you'll find out soon. And I think it's
the persistence.
Exactly. He's starting to realize, like, okay, if he wasn't really sincere about this, he would have just given up.
I think he does care about him, too, even though they've had so many problems in the past. I think he does want the best for him. But you can't blame him for getting mad at him. I mean, he did frame him to put him in jail, so
exactly,
it's understandable that it took a while for him to warm up and be persistent about it.
Yeah. So getting into what you said earlier, it was a very weird scene, and the one that we're talking about is when everyone is in the cabin, or all of the younger kids are in the cabin, and they all know, and it's so nice because we've had all of these lies both this season and the first season, and finally everyone, or almost everyone, Kristen still has no idea.
Poor Kristen. She's gonna have a heart attack when she finds everything out.
It seems like everyone finally knows what is going on. They know that there's twins. They know, they're very close to finding out who the murderer is, and they're all kind of plotting together to come up with a plan to expose this.
I think so. Yeah, it's so weird to see them all together, too, because we've been watching this for 2 seasons now, and each episode, like, maybe someone else is getting closer to finding out, and now it's finally at that point where all the main characters kind of know, except just a few.
Yeah. And before all this went down, I forgot to mention that Emma and Sutton both kind of worked together to try to get the truth from Rebecca. It didn't end up working out because Rebecca really doesn't trust Sutton anymore.
And she just straight up asked her, too, like, did you have something to do with the murder? Like, you could tell me I'm your daughter. And she did not take it very well. She was just kind of, like, disappointed. Yeah. But she didn't say, like, oh, I did it, or no, I didn't. She just kind of said, I'm disappointed that you would ask me that.
That instance actually made me think that she didn't do it.
Really?
Yeah, because I feel like if she did do it, she would have blown up at Sutton and said, I can't believe you accused me of that. I'm your mother. But she didn't do that. She was very calm about it. And she's like, I'm kind of disappointed that you would think that I was capable of that. Which is, I don't know, in my mind, that is not what a guilty person would do.
I see what you're saying. Totally. I can kind of agree with that, but just something.
Other things make me think that she's the killer still. But
I don't know. I mean, we're going to talk about who our suspects are, of course.
Exactly. But it's almost, if that's the last episode next week, it's almost too obvious that she's the killer.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. I was almost going to say, like, oh, does she have someone she, like, hired, or she's working with someone, is kind of more who I'm thinking of.
And if it is revealed that she's the killer next week, I feel like we're going to get a whole slew of other questions. Like, we are going to find out, or still, try to find out
just
why
like,
the
why?
twins were split up, like all of these things. I feel like something else is going to happen in next week's episode. And
why would she kill Derek? Like, that's still
to protect Ted.
Yeah.
That's kind of the reasoning why they're saying that, is because Ted is the one person that she has always wanted to protect, even more so than her own daughters. And, he was being blackmailed by this kid, so she thought she'd off him. That's their idea, I guess.
I still feel like there's a big part of the plot that we don't know. Because why is this such a big secret? Like, why, since, like, we know they had an affair and we know that there was a kid, but why is, like, the twins and all that such a big secret that, like, no one could know, and there's murders, and, like, I just feel like there's something in the plot that we don't know that's going to come out.
Haven't you ever seen Snapped or, like, any of those TV shows where, I mean, people kill people to hide infidelity all the time. And I mean, I'm not saying it's a good thing. I don't endorse it whatsoever, but I mean, it happens a lot. And I feel like that's kind of what is happening here. Someone was murdered to hide an infidelity and to hide, the birth of kids. So it does happen. I mean,
it's just so crazy to me because, I mean, usually it takes a lot to kill someone.
Oh, I completely agree. But some people are crazy in this world. So.
Yeah, definitely.
So all of the kids working together, they come up with 2 plans. And I wanted to mention, I completely forgot about this, but Alec and Thayer, Alec requested something of Thayer. He said, I need your help. And do we know what that plan is yet?
No.
Okay.
I think we're gonna find that out.
Hopefully we'll find out next episode. But that was I was like, I don't know what he's gonna do. Like, what is he asking for?
That's a to be continued, I think.
Exactly. So the kids working together to create a plan. The first one was Jordan suggested, Rebecca has this box. There are things in it that I don't know what exactly they are. I know that there are pictures of everyone, but I want to find out, more secrets about Rebecca. So when she's at dinner tonight, I'll break into the box and,
figure out
sort
what's
through
in
the contents. Exactly. And so that's plan number 1. The other plan is that they enlist Ted to help. So the twins end up telling Ted the truth about the twins.
Finally.
I thought that moment was so sweet with Sutton saying, can you just tell me that you're my dad again? And he does.
Because she didn't get it the first time.
Adorable. And that's the softer side to Sutton that we saw this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So then Emma gets out of the car and he's like, oh my gosh, I have 2 daughters, or I guess he has 3, but the fact that he had twins, and he was one of the only 2 people, I guess, who didn't know about that, him and Kristen.
And we weren't sure if he knew all along or not, so that finally cleared that up for us.
Yeah. So they enlist him and they say, we need your help. We think that Rebecca is behind all of this. He's like, oh, that's what Alec has been saying all along too. And they say, we need your help. We need you to confront Rebecca and let us know if she murdered Derek. We know everything. We know about the blackmailing. We know about this. We know about that. And he agrees to it. Like, good. I mean, he is not creepy at all. And we got that scoop from Alleganina last week. She's like, he's
the
innocent.
Adjective. Spoiler alert.
Exactly. But now we know. And he ends up, he goes through with the plan and ends up confronting Rebecca, but he also ends up confronting Alec in the process and is like, why did you split up my kids? You're an awful person. You're trying to ruin me. Do you think that was just?
I would be upset too, though.
Completely.
I would have reacted the same way. I thought he reacted pretty well, actually, considering.
And that's considering the twins didn't tell him the full story. They told him that they got split up and Sutton went to the Mercers, and they told Ted that Emma went to a family in Beverly Hills. And she was like, well, it wasn't as glamorous as it seemed. And that's the true story. She did end up going to a family in Beverly Hills, but then, what was the name of the mother who thought that it was her?
Oh, daughters? I forget.
Yeah, she came and took Emma away.
I was surprised
her.
Ted didn't ask more questions.
I'm sure he will.
He will.
I think that this was time sensitive, so they wanted to get everything out. I'm sure he has a lot of questions that he'd want to ask.
Yeah, there's so much in this episode, but I was like, I wanted Emma to be like, oh, by the way, you know me, and I've been hanging out at your house for the last few months pretending. Like, you actually know me, and we have a good relationship and a special bond, and you just didn't know it.
Yeah.
But hopefully that comes out.
Yeah. So Alec ends up saying that the reason why he didn't tell Ted about the twins and why he split them up is not for Ted, but it's for Kristen, or he alluded to that at least. Kristen couldn't handle twins, and we know that it was hard for her to handle a baby in the first place. It was hard enough for her to just handle
one.
Sutton.
And they had money problems at the time, right?
Mm-hmm. So I couldn't tell whether he was being sincere about that or whether it was for other reasons.
I don't know. I feel like I thought it was sincere when he said it, because it's a good alibi. Mm-hmm. Like, I was looking out for your family. You couldn't handle it at the time. I didn't want this to be this huge burden on you. And
that's intense, though.
It is really bad, though. And how it ended up.
Yeah.
I think he should have told. I think it was a big mistake, but I think that is, like, if you're going to have a reason, that is a pretty good one. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
On one hand, I think he's an awful person for splitting up the twins, but on the other hand, I think that he was an amazing friend for, doing all of this and keeping Ted's secret for so long, especially from Kristen, who he supposedly loved. I think if he actually loved her, he would have told her the truth. But I don't know.
It makes me think, though, because they've been best friends forever. Has Alec been best friends with Ted because he feels guilty about all this, or because they're actually best friends, or because that brings up questions too. It's like,
Frenemies.
Would you really betray your best friend in the world and keep that big of a secret from them for like almost 20 years?
Alec is definitely the one with the most secrets.
He knows everything, I feel like.
He does.
Which makes me feel like Rebecca's the killer just because he believes it.
Yeah.
But as you were saying earlier, it's like, oh, we already think that, so they might twist something on us next episode.
So while Rebecca and Ted are having this conversation about did she kill Derek and all of this stuff,
over a nice glass of wine, I might add,
the police come. And before we talk about the police coming, I just want to mention how Dan, this entire episode, has been on the hunt for Teresa. Obviously, he would still be on the hunt for her because...
Oh, and he, attacked Ted when he came to the police office. He was questioning him like crazy and grabbing him by the shirt collar, and, it was kind of scary.
I guess we didn't talk about Ted coming clean. That happened at the very beginning of the episode. Emma confronts him and says, I need answers. He's like, you can't, I didn't do this. You know me, which is what we have been hoping for the entire time.
And he explained all his actions, why he was giving money. And he was the one putting the flowers on the grave, too, because he just felt bad. He felt like, wow, this is a kid, and I feel so sorry. It wasn't because he killed him, though.
Yeah. Which does end up making sense. It was just very bizarre how it could have, that could have convicted him, potentially, if he was up for trial. Like, people would have thought that he was the killer. We all thought that he was the killer for a while.
Well, who hangs out in graveyards at night and sneaking around? It does
Killers,
seem sketchy.
Yeah. He admits that he talked to Teresa and answered any questions for Emma about that. He also answered them to the cops. And
brought it right to the police after.
I thought that Dan was off the case. So it was very weird for me that he was the one interrogating Ted.
He probably weaseled his way in, like, I have to talk to this guy because he was so upset and enraged by all of it.
Mm-hmm. I was almost wondering if the cops didn't know about it, and Ted just went to Dan first and said, hey, I talked to Teresa the other night, like, I don't know what happened to her, but I just wanted to come clean to you first. And Dan was like, well, get in the interrogation room.
It kind of just cut to them in the police department.
And Dan it was heated.
Really heated.
I mean, I understand where Dan was coming from, but I mean, from our perspective, we knew that Ted didn't do it.
Yeah. Well, this whole thing, it was really sad because Ethan lied to Dan about not knowing anything too, which stirred up more stuff with that because
who can Dan trust?
Yeah, Dan can't trust anyone now because he was like, wow, you're my brother and you lied straight to my face because you chose your ex-girlfriend over me.
Yeah.
Which shows that Ethan's still in love with Emma.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we all knew that.
Yeah.
So Alec ends up stepping in while Dan is interrogating Ted. And
he just walks in, too. Waltzes in the room.
He's the DA. He's allowed to do that. And it couldn't have happened any sooner because it looked like Dan was about to, rip Ted a new one.
Yeah.
I mean, he was literally choking him against a wall. And yeah, then it gets into Dan feels betrayed by Ethan. He feels betrayed by everyone. But in the end, who was it that got, I'm blanking right now, who got the call? From Teresa.
Oh, Sutton did.
That's what I was going to say. I think
she was like, it's Teresa.
Sutton got the call. It's just very heavy breathing. And
creepy.
She takes it immediately to the police, as she should. They trace the call, and they're like,
oh, it's at the country club.
We know where it is. It's at the country club. So the police arrive, interrupt a lot of conversations. They interrupt Ted and Rebecca's. They interrupt Emma and Thayer's, which it looked like they were about to break up. But and they're like, Teresa's on the premises. Sutton and Emma are both there. And have this moment where Sutton says, I know you still have feelings for Ethan, and Emma's like, well, who do you think should be there for him? And Sutton's like, it should be you. That's why they switched clothes, and that was a very big moment for Sutton.
I was gonna ask you about that because I was like, I don't get why they're changing clothes while they're trying to find someone's body.
Yeah.
So.
It's because there are people. I mean, the police don't know. Kristen doesn't know. There are people in town that don't know that there are twins. So I don't think they want to expose that yet.
Yeah.
So they end up changing clothes because only one of them can be there
in public.
So they all end up going right to the place where the phone was traced to. It's the pool.
Dead, floating body face down.
Teresa is floating in the water face down. I still, as I said earlier in the episode, I still don't want to believe that she's dead because we heard breathing, but who could be the killer? That could
have not been her, though. That could have been whoever was throwing her corpse into the pool or something, just like creepy breathing to like lure them in or something.
Oh, and also, before we get into predictions about that, I forgot to mention the box as well. Right as Jordan is enacting his plan, he goes and tries to break into the box. He finds the box was empty, and he's like, what the fuck? Sorry.
It happens.
And, sorry for swearing. He was like, what the fudge? And turns to the side, sees a thief, someone dressed in all black, which reminded
hoodie.
me of A.
Yes.
Pretty Little Liars reference.
That was exactly, that's what I thought too. I was like, A. Like,
we're going to find out it's Janelle Parrish.
Yeah.
And he ends up chasing after this thief. The thief knocks into Mads. No one sees the person's face. That would be the first thing that I would do, is look them right in the eyes. But no one ends up seeing it. And the thief runs away.
The
Jordan
thief
ends up
looked
helping
really
us.
small.
I was going
gonna
to
say
it looks like a female's frame,
like
body frame.
Someone in high school, like someone that's little, is what I thought.
The people that I have written down are Shar, Thayer, or Teresa. But that was when we were watching the episode, so I don't think it could be Thayer because he was with Emma at the time.
I forgot Shar existed again.
I know.
I always
exactly.
forget.
I was like, it has to be someone that we know. They're not going to introduce a completely new character unless it's someone that's working for Rebecca, but why would someone steal that when they're working for Rebecca?
What if
it was Kristen the entire time? No, I don't know.
Kristen's the murderer. It's her. Could you imagine? I would be so pissed.
No. God, that would be weird. But yeah, so those were the people that I had written down. It could actually be Teresa if she stole that stuff and then was heading back to, her safe site and someone killed her on the way.
I thought that too. I definitely think it's either like a smaller guy like Thayer or like a woman, because I was just thinking like that there's no way that's Alec or something like that. It's too small of a frame.
Whatever happened to Justin too?
I don't know.
I don't think it looked like him. It definitely looked like a female body though.
Well, when did Shar disappear? Did she disappear like right after Derek died? She kind of like pieced out.
Yeah, she had to go.
That is
what
kind
if it
of
is Shar?
It could be.
Maybe they had a lover's quarrel or something, and she everyone said she needed to go get away, get some clarity because her boyfriend was murdered. What if she was the murderer and she was just trying to escape from, all the interrogation?
It could be. That's a good prediction, I think.
I don't know. But I don't know if she would have any reasoning for it. That's the only thing.
Now I want to look on IMDb to see if her character comes back, but that's such a spoiler if it is.
I know.
She could just come back and be like, hey, I'm at school again.
Yeah.
So
do we think that the thief is the same person that murdered Teresa?
It either is Teresa, the person that murdered her, or someone who's on the team. Since we said it reminded us of A, it makes me think, there could be more behind this. And we've seen that Rebecca can get people on her side and make them do things for her. She has that power over people. So I feel like she could have like someone working for her, doing stuff for her still that's not Jordan. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think we should get into our official predictions for the night.
And now, AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
Okay, so predictions. Let's predict. Yeah, go ahead.
My first prediction is that I don't think Teresa's going to come up gasping for air.
Oh, no.
Sadly, I think she's a goner.
Yeah. I mean, that was a pretty quick response time from, I don't know how long it took for Emma to get that too. I don't know. I just really want her to be alive.
She could have been dead for days. She could have been dead for minutes. We don't know.
I know. But why would the killer call someone on Teresa's cell phone? That makes absolutely no sense. Why would the killer alert someone to where her body is?
Well, what I was thinking when they first came to the club, I was thinking country clubs have cameras everywhere watching everything. Wouldn't they have like cameras on the pool to see if...
But if they're dressed in all black...
Yeah.
You would think that they'd have a security guard though.
Yeah, that's the part where,
maybe
like, right when it happened, I was like, someone
yeah.
should have been there or it should have been recorded.
Mm-hmm.
But.
Yeah. I really hope that she's still alive and I don't know, it's so sad.
I think Emma and Ethan are going to get back together.
Oh, yeah, that's,
safe prediction.
Yes, I definitely think that's going to happen. I feel like it's almost too obvious that Rebecca's a killer. I feel like she is, but it's almost like...
Who's your money on next, Shar?
Oh my gosh, I have no idea. They did good.
The
writers did good.
They did.
Any other predictions for next week's episode?
No, I don't want to say too much because I have no idea which way it's going to go, to be honest.
Okay. Well, if you guys have any predictions, then make sure to tweet us or comment on our YouTube page. Danica, where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Danica Kennedy and on my website, danicakennedy.com.
Cool. And you can follow me on Twitter at Cathy Kelley. We would love to keep the conversation going. If you have any predictions before the finale next week, please let us know. And also make sure to tune in next week for our Lying Game finale.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.